Hi, guys. Today we're going to talk about The Great Gatsby, Chapter 1, which is The Bee's Knees. So, in Chapter 1, we meet our narrator, Nick Carraway. That's a little odd because the title of the book is The Great Gatsby, not The Great Nick Carraway. So, why do we get it from Nick's perspective? Well, we'll talk about that more later, but keep in mind then, we're not getting Gatsby's thoughts and actions in the first person, right? We're getting them through Nick. So keep in mind, is he really a reliable narrator? Are there things we don't know? Again, is that perspective bias of any way? Now, we learn a couple things about Nick right away. He says, my dad always told me not to judge people right away because they haven't all had the same advantages in life that we've had. Sounds to me like Nick grew up a privileged life, right? And he tries not to be judgmental, and he probably had a good relationship with his father, and that he's considering his advice. So we learned a little bit about Nick there. Now, he went to World War I, came back, and he was a little unrestful, he said. So he decided he's going to go learn the bond business in New York. And his family said, oh, Nicky, we'll totally support you and send you there and pay for you for 1 year to learn the biz. Must be nice. Okay, so Nick goes off to Long Island, New York, and there's two eggs there. There's a West Egg and East Egg. Now, East Egg is the fashionable old money, where people have not only wealth, but breeding. Now, West Egg is new money. They are a little gaudy. They like bling. They like to show it off. They do not have the culture and the breeding of those in East Egg. Now, it's funny because Nick takes up a cottage in West Egg. He was supposed to have it with a friend or roommate, colleague from work, but then at the last minute, the other guy backed out. So Nick said he lived there alone for a little bit with his dog, but then the dog ran away. That's it. He doesn't mention anything else, like, dog ran away, oh well. So, right away, that kind of bothers me. I'm like, where's the dog? Did we put up posters? Did we look for the dog? Like, Nick, seriously, you don't even mention the dog ever again. But, that's Nick. Okay, so then he goes over to the fashionable East Egg to have dinner with his cousin, twice removed, Daisy Buchanan, and her husband, Tom Buchanan. Well, he lets us know right away, using both indirect and direct characterization, that Tom is wealthy, a bit of a brute, and he was one of those people who peaked in college. So not much to offer now. He is so wealthy that he likes to bring in these polo ponies and really doesn't have much to do with his time. Hence, his side chick, or piece. So anyway, they're all sitting down at dinner. He brings up some novel that he's reading, which is actually a racist novel. So again, great guy. And when the phone rings, Daisy's friend, whose name is Jordan Baker, she's a professional golfer, and side note, Nick's like, I remember some story about her, but I can't quite remember, but I remember it was less than favorable. We'll get the tea on Jordan later. So anyway, he's there, and the phone rings during dinner, and it's not a DM, it's not a text message, it's not a Twitter feed, it's an old-fashioned phone, and it rings, and Tom gets up to go answer it during dinner, and Daisy's annoyed. And Jordan whispers to Nick, whom she just met, by the way, you know who that is? Nick's like, no, I don't. That's his mistress. Oh, so he's a racist and a cheat. Great guy, Tom is. Anyway, Daisy's a little upset. To pass the time, Nick asks her about her daughter, and she mentions to him, well, you didn't come to my wedding. And he's like, well, I was kind of in a war. So she kind of gives him a pass on that one. But then she says, when she was having her baby, and Tom wasn't anywhere to be found, wait, what? You were having a child and you couldn't find your husband. Anyway, girl, she says, when she found out she was a girl, I said, I'm glad that she's a girl. I hope she's a beautiful little fool. Okay, I can understand wanting your daughter to be beautiful, but a fool? What? Again, we'll come back to that one later. So anyway, we learn a little bit about Nick. We learn that he's had a privileged life, his family's backing him, he's going to learn the bond business, and he's living in West Egg, in a tiny little place next to the giant, colossal mansion, which is a little gaudy by the East Egg standards, but he's staying in West Egg. And he says that his little cottage that he's renting is an eyesore, but it's a small one, so it's been overlooked. Jordan brings up Gatsby because of where he's living and says, "Have you met Gatsby?" And Daisy says, "What's a Gatsby?" But then they get sidetracked. I think it was Tom talking his racist book. Anyway, when Nick gets home, he sees a guy standing out on the dock in his yard. And he says, "Well, I should go introduce myself to my new neighbor, Gatsby." And he walks over, but then he notices that Gatsby's standing on the dock and he's just staring off into the green light at the end of the dock. And Nick's like, I think I'll give him some time. He looks a little busy staring into the green light at the end of the dock. But again, it's one of those things that I promise we'll talk a whole bunch about, the green light at the end of the dock. So anyway, that is chapter 1. I know you found it as awesome as I did. And we'll talk more about chapter 2 tomorrow. All right, folks, take care. And if you want to, practice the Charleston.